Hello, welcome to Myers Counseling Group Podcast. We offer information from authorities and experts in their respective fields. Listeners will be provided with viewpoints that will be helpful in addressing mental health and substance abuse concerns for individuals and their families. Previous podcasts can also be found on our website at myerscounseling.com. Also, you can see the latest information on our book, Falling Trees, Colorblind Scientists, and Addiction, on our website at fallingtreesbooks.com.
There's a strong relationship between mental health, substance abuse, and financial challenges. They go hand in hand. If you are falling into debt or are already in debt, that can have a large emotional toll on your mental well-being. Depression, anxiety, isolation, lack of confidence, helplessness, and hopelessness are some of the feelings a person going through these challenges could experience. Also, if someone is experiencing substance abuse or mental health concern, they may end up making poor financial decisions. Sometimes both of these challenges can present themselves simultaneously. Today's podcast will address the financial aspect. The Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Northern Illinois offers its expertise on financial options for those facing financial challenges.
Hello. Today I'd like to welcome Donna Jackowiak, Executive Director, and Donna Rasmussen, Assistant Executive Director at Consumer Credit Counseling of Northern Illinois, a nonprofit agency helping people in McHenry, Lake, and Cook counties who are struggling with financial issues. This agency has been in the community for over 40 years. Welcome, Donna's.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We appreciate you offering information about your services. So my first question is, do you service exclusively McHenry, Lake, and Kane counties? Are there other counties that you work with?
No, we service all of Illinois. We've worked with many programs where we've helped people in Southern Illinois, typically mostly in Illinois. However, we do reverse mortgage counseling throughout the United States. We even have some clients that we serve in Southern Wisconsin.
How are you guys funded?
Most of our funding comes from grants. We receive a HUD grant. We're a HUD certified counseling agency. So we receive some HUD funding. We have foundation funding. We are funded by the McHenry County Mental Health Board. They actually were an agency that started our agency because they see the correlation between financial issues and mental health problems. So they've funded us since we've started, and we've been in business for 40 years. So we just celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Okay. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. Very few client fees. Most of our funding is, like I said, from grants.
Oh, okay. So I appreciate you bringing up about the connection with the mental health board. And this is one of the reasons I thought this would be a good, especially in nowadays, now times with the inflation, and all the things, that are happening economically, there is a connection with people's mental health. How does that affect them and how they're feeling about life? So how easy is it these days for people to fall into debt? For some, it seems to happen so fast. And others, it just may be kind of a slow progression. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, it happens both ways. So a lot of times people don't even realize that they're, kind of teetering on the edge. Their budget's not balanced. They're not looking at their income and expenses. They're not thinking about wants versus needs. And so they all of a sudden realize that they're unable to make their monthly mortgage payment or pay all their credit card bills on time. And for some people, it might seem like it happens overnight, and others just kind of know it's happening, but are kind of powerless to stop it, or feel powerless to stop it. Every every client is different with how they get to where they are. Life happens to people, and things happen. And
I think it goes back to the balanced budget, because if they would work on their budget, they would realize, I'm using that credit card just to get by every month. And pretty soon they're going to find themselves in possibly a situation where they cannot keep up with all of their bills.
Right. It doesn't necessarily happen one way or the other. People be making some choices, get into bad habits, and then find themselves in debt. Or it could be with something pretty sudden, like, losing a job or pandemics.
Yes.
Do you think there's any difference now, what's happening today, these days, than it was maybe 15 years ago, in people's relationship with money, the temptations, impulses for spending, credit card offers? I swear, we probably get, with my family, maybe 3 to 4 credit card offers almost every mailing. And I could imagine for some it may look as an answer or a salvation. Do you see anything different over the course of the last, several years?
The technology. So it makes it so much easier for them to use that credit card and spend that money. We were just talking about Amazon. You can leave your credit card number right in your account and just go in there, click a button, and you've purchased it, and it's on your credit card.
Right now.
Yep. So it's made it a lot easier to spend money, rather than years ago where you had to go out to the store to spend the money. Now you just log online and it's very easy.
And instant credit card approval.
Right.
You can be on the computer and in 30 seconds or 60 seconds be approved for a credit card with, a huge limit. So,
right. The other thing we've talked about a lot is people don't really keep track of some of their apps that they have. The television apps and all these other apps that cost money. They're not keeping track of that, and that's a lot of times monthly
subscription.
Right, subscriptions that are coming out of their or being charged through a credit card every month.
Right. Such as like, this is a great offer, free for 3 months, but we'll still need your credit card information. Right. And, unless you're really paying attention on that 4th month, you're paying for a service.
Right.
Or some of these, companies where you sign up for a year, unless you're paying attention, another bill comes along and it could almost double in depending on the company and the circumstances. So that's a good point. It's important to kind of stay ahead of these things.
It just happened to me personally with Comcast. The Comcast bill just went up dramatically because I wasn't keeping track. Our contract ended, and we paid a couple of months because it's behind in the credit card, and I didn't look at my statements. So yeah, it happens to everybody.
Let me ask both of you this. What do you think are some of the emotions that people may be facing? Guilt, stress, shame. What kind of state of mind, if there is a way to describe that, do people come into your agency?
Yeah, I think most of the time they come in extremely overwhelmed to the point where they are almost immobilized. They can't look at their mail, they are not answering their phones, and they just don't know what to do.
The other thing is we do a survey with all of the clients that we counsel, how anxious they are regarding their current financial situation. Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they just full of anxiety and they can't think about it? And a lot of our clients are saying they are really overwhelmed. And we saw an increase in the pandemic, that people are just really anxious about their finances as well as everything else going on.
And I could even imagine that the pandemic added, some challenges as well. You had mentioned earlier about the ability to get approval online for credit cards. So from approval to spending could be a matter of a few minutes, in some cases. And that, coupled with time on your hands and sitting in front of a computer, I could imagine that's not a great combination for people trying to manage their finances.
And when people have propensity to be impulsive, it's just compounded.
Yeah. I mentioned, possibilities of stress, guilt, shame. When it comes to finances, people don't always feel comfortable in expressing or sharing that information with others. So coming to your agency, I could imagine that there's a certain state of mind that you usually see when people do come into your agency asking for help.
Oh, absolutely. The clients feel like they're going to be judged. And that's what we tell the clients when they make the appointment. This is non-judgmental. We are just here to help you. We're not taking a look backwards. We're looking forward to find out, where do you need to go? Where do you want to be, and how do you get there? All of those, the stress, the guilt, the shame, those are all part of what people are feeling.
We also want our clients to know too that everyone in this agency, we all have difficulties, and we've all felt, that stress at times too. So we're no different.
Right. For people who may find themselves in some financial challenges, having debtors, or collection agencies calling them, being afraid to pick up the phone, not seeing an answer to some of their problems, I could imagine this all could be pretty overwhelming for people.
Yes, absolutely. And it happens to everybody. It doesn't matter if what your income is. If you lose your job and you had a high paying job, that's very stressful. And we were just talking too, I had a client that came in with a bag full of unopened mail because he just could not open the mail. He was so stressed out about it.
So person comes in there for the first time, and again, I know circumstances could be different for each person, but what do you usually say? What information do you give out to clients after the first meeting? If there's a way you could kind of give a general approach to that.
Our clients are counselors just to make sure that when a client comes in, they go over all of their options. If they're struggling with credit card debt, they will let them know that the client can work with the creditor to be approved for a hardship program. They maybe can lower their interest rate, lower their monthly payment so they can make a payment towards a larger credit card. And if it's needed, they can advise them, kind of talk about the bankruptcy option. So we can't tell them what to do, but we just make sure that they have all of their options. They know everything that's available to them, and then they can make their own decision.
And we also have a debt management program. So if the client is eligible, and we make sure that the program will work for them. So we don't want to set anybody up to fail. We want to make sure they're going to be successful. But it's a consolidation program in that they make the payment through our program, and then we send the payments to the creditors. The creditors will give them a break in the interest that they're charging, and the program is designed to help them get all of their debt paid off in 5 years. That's one of the options that the counselor may suggest to the clients as well, as working directly with the creditor, or possibly even bankruptcy if that's their only option.
That's going to segue to my next question, but just to comment, it sounds like even on the first meeting that you have, you're already beginning to have a kind of point them in a direction of an action plan.
Oh, absolutely. Every client leaves our office with an action plan. And it's all based on the budget. So we do a really complete budget with every client. And then the counselor can tell them their options. And we give them, like I said, an action plan. Every client gets an action plan.
What options, and again, this is kind of going to be just a broad overview, but what kind of options do clients have regarding debt? I mean, what are some of the programs, the involvement that you guys would have in this? So if you mind explaining, some of the options somebody may have.
Well, first thing is their budget. We're going to talk to them about their budget. Can they afford to make all of their payments as it is now? What can we suggest that they cut back on? What are some of the expenses that we feel are a little bit high? So if we look at their internet or their cable TV and we see that it's high, we might suggest, contact them so you can lower that. We'll go through all of the expenses. And then we'll suggest if they have a lot of credit card debt, contact your creditors and see if there's anything that they can help you with. Sometimes creditors will offer the client and it's typically a short-term plan. It's usually not a long-term plan, but they'll offer them maybe a lower interest rate, a lower payment for a period of time. Each creditor is different. So at the time the client asks about that program, they have to also ask, how is this going to affect my credit? Sometimes what they do is close the account, and then the creditor may report that the account is closed on their credit report. Then the next option probably is the debt management program that I talked about earlier. All of the accounts on the debt management program have to be closed. So when an account is closed, that affects the credit report because the amount of credit you have available goes into the credit score. So when you lower the amount of credit you have available by closing the accounts, then it may have a detrimental impact on your credit score. However, the biggest thing that goes into your credit score is making your payments on time. So once they start making those payments on time, that's also being reported to the credit bureau. So then they'll see an increase in their score. And then the council will talk to them about bankruptcy and what effect that has on their credit score. Obviously, again, all of the accounts are going to be closed because you have to put all of your accounts in a bankruptcy. And the bankruptcy will be reported on the credit bureau for 10 years. The client has to know that that is going to affect their credit for 10 years. As they get further past the bankruptcy, they usually can start getting some credit.
Okay.
And then as long as they are making good payments, it's going to improve their credit. However, we also warn them that if they file a bankruptcy, they're going to get tons of offers, and most of those offers are not going to be good. They're going to be high interest rates. They may have fees associated with opening the credit. So we really caution them to watch what they're being offered and make sure that it's in their best interest when they take something.
So it could take up to 10 years for some, depending on what course of action they decide to take. I mean, you mentioned about credit scores. For the people that you do see, is that going to be really an issue immediately? I mean, I could imagine if they're feeling pretty overwhelmed and the credit score may not be as much of a factor for some as it would be for others.
Right. It depends on their situation and what they decide to do. If they are overwhelmed, they cannot afford those credit card payments. Bankruptcy is their best option. It's going to help them move forward. Yes, it's going to affect their credit for 10 years, but it's the best option for them at that point. And again, the biggest thing that goes into your credit score is making your payments on time. So as long as you're making timely payments, that credit score is going to get better. Then the next thing is your available credit. So we will tell all of our clients, make sure that your credit cards aren't maxed out because that's going to have a detrimental impact on your credit score. You want to make sure you don't have balances higher than, I think they say 50%.
So we normally say 30%.
30% of whatever your credit limit is. So you want to keep your balances 30% or less. And then the length of time that you have credit open also goes into your credit score. That's the next thing. The longer you have favorable credit, the better your score is going to be. And then the last thing is the different types of credit. So you want to make sure that you have a car loan and a credit card. You don't want just one type of debt. You want to make sure you have several different types. It just helps the credit score.
And then new credit too. So not opening a whole bunch of accounts at one time, because lenders will look at that like a kind of a red flag for somebody maybe heading for financial meltdown, when somebody might just be trying to prove that they can get credit. So just opening credit accounts that you don't really need is not advice.
Now, I also have here in my notes, insolvency trust. Um, is that something you guys have heard? I don't know if it's a state thing or,
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with
I'm
that.
not familiar with that either.
okay. But the possible debt consolidation, bankruptcy, are a couple of the options, budgeting as well,
Yes,
you know, with
that's
that,
Top of the list.
top, yeah. All starts with that budget. That's the
right?
first thing.
How amiable are the credit card companies to working with individuals, or is it best to have a third party such as yourselves?
Well, I've always told clients to call the credit, if they're struggling to make their payments, call the credit card companies and ask if there's a hardship program that they're eligible for. I always tell them, use that word, hardship program. And sometimes I'll even tell a client, you know what, if you don't get a good answer from that rep, try calling and get another rep and try again to see if they will. Some of the credit card companies will give their clients some good options. They'll lower the interest rate. They will lower their payments for a period of time. Our experience has been a lot of times those programs are short term though. Okay, we'll lower your payment, we'll lower your interest rate for a year, and then after a year it might go up. Where the debt consolidation program, our debt management program, as long as you're making the payments, it's until you've completed paying the debt.
So it's fixed.
Yes, yes, yes. But we definitely suggest to our clients to contact their creditors and let them know that, you know, they're looking to see if there's any help that they can get them.
Okay. And do you work with couples or is it just individuals?
Oh, no, we work with families, individuals. In fact, every family dynamic we help with, and it is helpful if it is a couple that they're both there for it. It's, you know, just more eyes on the budget and what's going on. So it is more helpful.
Both
agreeable
to it, yeah, and involved with it, because you know, if one is more involved than the other and the other one doesn't want to deal with it, it doesn't work as well as if they're both invested.
Okay. If you have a individual coming in and it's solely, we'll just say his issue, with it, his problems and his debt, do you still suggest a significant other, spouse, or other family member, or do you that come in and assist them or be a part of that process? Does that happen?
Yes, it does happen, and I can tell you that sometimes that person will say, "I don't want my spouse to know about it."
Right.
And if that's the case, we are very discreet. We do not, if they tell us do not call my number because whatever reason it is, we do not call the number. So we help the individual client that's coming to us as best we can. And like I said, we're very discreet.
If you have a Jane Smith there and her husband wants to find out if she's been seeking out your services, can you disclose her information to
If she asks us not to, no, we do not.
Okay. So they do have their confidentiality and
Yes.
so forth.
The only thing I would say is if there are any joint accounts, and they want to start the debt management program, we do have to get both of their approval. We cannot put a credit card on the debt management program when the spouse doesn't know about it if their name is on it. But
Okay.
if it's just solely in that one client's name, or if they're just coming to us for suggestions and ideas, then no, we do not give any information out.
And do you guys work with tax debt, student loans?
No, we don't work with tax debt or student loan debt. We do have student loan counselors. So if somebody is struggling with student loan repayment, we can kind of inform them with all of the other options that are available for federal student loan repayment plans. We can also, if a person has a child who's going to be going to college soon, they can come in and meet with a counselor, and we can discuss. They can discuss how much student loan debt the child should take out in their name, or the parents should take on, based on, you know, where the child's going to school, what the career path is, you know, the intended career path is. So we can do that, but we don't work with student loan debt.
To pay it off.
To pay it.
Right.
To pay off, but you may do some coaching and suggestions. Got it. What do you think are some warning signs that people, individuals, families are going in a not so good financial direction? Any red flags that you guys would say families or individuals need to look for?
Well, the first thing is they're using credit cards just to get by during the month. They're using it at the grocery store, and they're not paying that balance off at the end of the month.
They're paying the minimum.
Yeah, they're only paying the minimum. They're finding it hard to make all of their payments every month. Yeah. Do you have any other things?
I think those are the big red flags.
Right.
They use their credit cards, not making on-time payments.
And maybe hiding bills from spouses.
Yes.
You know, with that, feeling some anxiety when the phone rings, you know, not looking, as you said, not even looking through the mail.
Right.
You know, would probably be other ones as well. You guys had mentioned, you know, paying credit cards on time, you know, paying that. Other tips that people could use to rebuild their credit?
Credit reports are so individualized. It's depending on the client. So some might have had a foreclosure, or someone might have had a bankruptcy, or have collection accounts. So each person's credit is so individualized, but we do have a credit repair program as well. We have a counselor that will sit down with them and take a look at their credit and explain what they can possibly do to help their credit, improve their credit. We also have a microloan program where, and it's a credit building microloan. Someone who doesn't have a credit score because they haven't had credit in the past, they will take out possibly a $300 loan. It's a 0% loan. It does not cost the client any money at all. Their payment is designed to fit within their budget. Typically it's $300, maybe $25 a month. It's being reported to the credit bureau, and we've had some great success in helping them improve their credit score right off the bat.
I think one client was in after 3-4 months, their score had gone up 60 points.
Yeah, we've had some really good success with that.
Nice.
And that's for someone who's not in a crisis situation where they're not able to pay the rent, or they're behind on a car payment. This is strictly for someone who just doesn't have credit and would like to have credit.
Rebuild it, or if they're just struggling, like they have collection accounts on their credit report, they want to get those cleared up. We can possibly help them with that, but not really a crisis, because we're trying to make this as a credit building program. So.
Do you guys offer workshops here for the general public?
We do. We have a really phenomenal workshop program. We have about 15 different workshops that we provide throughout Illinois. We do them at social service agencies, libraries, businesses. We do lunch and learns and train the trainers for people who do work with clients. We have some workshops we're doing with the local college for part of their TRIO program, where they have a mentorship program for first-time college students or first-generation college students who are low income and they may or may not have a disability. So we provide a series of workshops for them. We also have a 6-part series that we're working on, that we're doing with some of the substance abuse recovery homes and specialty courts. So, and we're always developing new workshops and happy to provide them. We provide them all over Cook County, DuPage, McHenry, Kane, Lake, and we do them in Spanish and in English.
Nice.
We have some webinars on the website.
Oh, on our website, yes, we do have a couple of webinars. Right now, one is renters' rights and responsibilities, and the other one is how to develop sound financial skills. And you can go to our website at illinoiscccs.org.
Excellent. We've covered a lot of information, asked a lot of questions. Anything we individual or people could know, the things that we may not have covered, information, other tidbits you guys want to offer?
I think we covered mostly everything. I mean, we are not limited to anybody. Anybody who wants to come in and talk to a counselor is welcome. Anybody who wants to go to a workshop is welcome. So we are not limited by income or
residency, immigration status,
race or anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's welcome to participate in all of our programs. So yeah.
And do you offer also Zoom sessions as well?
Yeah.
Our webinars are on Zoom, and our counseling sessions are all pretty much via phone or Zoom, whatever the client prefers right now.
Great, great. So one more time, could you guys let us know what your contact information is? How people may reach you? You know, website, emails, phone numbers.
So we are on Facebook and Instagram also, so you can follow us on those platforms. Our website is www.illinoiscccs.org, and our phone number is 815-338-5757. I almost give out my personal phone number every time. So,
and then we have a main email address. It's info@illinoiscccs.org.
Great, great. And once we have this podcast posted, we'll include that additional information for people who may be looking to find you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We really appreciate the time. A lot of helpful information here that you guys provided. And, you know, just to let people know, when they find themselves in this position, there is help. You know, reaching out and knowing organizations such as your guys, you know, is out there, and you know, place where they could get some direction and support, and they're not alone.
Yep, absolutely. Please give us a call.
Right. Great. Well, Donna and Donna, again, I appreciate your time. It was again, great information you gave us, and we'll you know, be passing these on to people and getting more information out there about your agency.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.